Then said, oh, okay, I take your technology. Since you try to negotiate, I tripled the cost of the technology. I did, honestly. And eventually, we ensured that that particular practice is today 100% observed process across the sector in the country today. Basically, what did we do? We communicated the green chemistry is not about protecting environment alone. Green chemistry is about avoiding the waste and controlling your economy, material waste in the economy. That's what we conveyed as a principle. Then the next reason that the same kind of a process in another circumstance, they know it will work, but they are afraid of changing. The basic mindset of a comfort zone is a challenge. General tendency of the human mind, don't try to fix something that works. So they have been preaching it before, and why should I change this? That's an attitude. So when I came back and said, look, we have so much of money, then this group said, anyway we're making money even without loss with that particular waste, why are you asking us to change? Okay, that's your challenge. So what I did was, I went and established a small facility with a government cost and asked this young person to collect the waste streams of this chromium from factory to factory at zero cost. So they came back, and this guy recovered and produced the chromium compound and sold it back to them. He collected the raw material at no cost and sold the product at cost. For him, it's only processing time. And it turned out that his turnover was very good. So he multiplied the scale by 10 times in 1 year. Then these guys came back and said, look, Godfellow is making money at our cost, and we wish to do it ourselves. The reason it happened was the comfort zone had to be addressed. They found out that by using the technology system, they're not going to lose anything, they're going to gain something. So these economic aspects of applications of green chemistry have to be articulated and sometimes demonstrated and proved. And that's a very fundamental part that I have learned in this process. Of course, in the course of time, I became the director of that institution, and the Supreme Court decided to close 400 companies on the same day on which I was appointed the director of that institution. I used to bring good luck for everybody. 250,000 people lost jobs, and about $2 billion turnover of the industry was challenged because they were not able to comply with the environmental regulatory norms. And what we did in that particular case, there were 764 companies in the state. So I had 148 colleagues of mine working in 8 towns for 9 months. And we collected the waste stream, every section, it's like waste stream of every section of all the 764 companies, and established the emission factors per ton of the leather they processed, and brought about this green technology, clean technology principles in them, and reduced the wastages between 40 to 80% depending upon the type of waste component, and provided technology systems for end-of-life solutions, and solved the problem in 9 months, protecting the job of 250,000 people and a turnover of about $2 billion. And the courts restored the operations and they reopened them, and it was a massive demonstration of the effect of the use of the green and clean technology applications in the system. One asked the question, okay, if there are such examples, why is it that we hold an industrial green chemistry workshop today, and why industry is not picking that up in a very effective way? I would say the people who have to find the solutions for these problems for reasons of division of labor might still be in academics and research institutions in the manner of speaking. Of course, we had those solutions, for example, to the leather industry in 1995. So on the day when this court order came, trying to give the solutions to go, my media people were very upset that I was trying to help an industry which was causing an environmental challenge. So somebody asked me a question, why are you trying to protect these guys? I said, closing a company is a soft option and making them meet the environmental regulations and still do business is a hard option. So what is your problem? Then he asked this press chap in India, they're very clever guys. They said, don't give your usual evasive answer, but give a right answer. Yes or no. You are saying that you have technology, but industry has not used it. Is it because you never told them that you have technology? Or is it because they never believed in your technology? Why is it that the technology is not gone? And this is applicable to green chemistry particularly. This is not just contextually I am giving you an anecdote, but it's true of, you can scale expand the same system. I said, look, they had the knowledge that we have the technology which can use, but they didn't have the wisdom to use it. And I would say the wisdom is an important part. And that wisdom will flow only when there is an enormous trust between the researchers who find the solutions and the practitioners who have to apply it daily. That's a huge, huge challenge in that particular process. But to tell you the truth, without that regulatory framework, without the Supreme Court order closing the factories, I don't believe my technologies would have gone to the industry. I mean, there's a fact of life. So the regulatory framework is very crucial in this activity. After the regulatory framework forced these industries to apply and they found the use, the next step of generation was absolutely a melodious music from there on. Today there are sectors in this country which moved into zero liquid emission, which are as a principle and practice. And I am talking about sectors which are in the red category as far as systems are concerned. And the kinds of new options they look for, the hunger which they look for is fairly good. And the question here, therefore, through this industrial green chemistry workshop, could we really build that strength and fuse this trinity of academy, research, industry strong? I think that's a fairly critical question. Today I can go back and narrate the kind of solutions that are being practiced in this country in green chemistry practice in chromium ore mining in this country based on what we have given. They are cost-effective solution and is being done in millions of tons by Tata Group today. I could share with you the kinds of chromium ore processing residue challenge in the United States which caused all the problem and how do you avoid it in future, and that's possible as well. We could take a number of examples, but those examples are still too little for us to celebrate on an occasions of this kind. I think we have to necessarily address this question of this relatively weak social capital that exists between the generators of green chemistry and those who can apply them in real field, in industrial situation. When I say social capital, I talk about the trust. It's another way of saying lack of trust between the two ends of the knowledge chain. And the kind of cultural dichotomy that exists between the institutions which perform in research in this area, in the laboratories and academic systems, and the people who have to apply. One has a constant pressure of time on which things need to be done and viability and so on, economic viability, environmental viability and so on, while the other looks for the best solution, not necessarily the least cost solution. The question here is how do we get the least cost solution and the best solution to converge in the same system. And also, as I call this problem of lingua franca between the people who speak green chemistry and the people who have to use green chemistry. The speakers and the doers. That's a language problem. The issues are different. Now, given this scenario, let me share with you what is it that this country, in the Government of India and the Department of Science and Technology, has been doing in this area. January 2004, we set up a special task force in this country for green chemistry. This particular task force is to proactively build synergies between academic institutions and research institutions on one plane, on industry on the other, and connect the practitioners with the principles of green chemistry on a day-to-day situation. I think we have some good lessons to perhaps present as an example, but some of them happen to be more exceptions than examples. But the kinds of engagement in this area is still to come. It's rather weak. And about last year, I proactively picked 4 sectors: textile, dyes and chemicals, paper and pulp, and pharmaceutical. You might ask me, why did we choose those industries? These sectors are associated with environmental challenges. There's a scope for huge scope for applications of green chemistry and clean technologies in the system, and they are connected to our economic growth profiles and growth engines effectively. Then I set up a scheme called Process Research Initiative for Zero Emission, abbreviated as PRIZE, Process Research Initiative for Zero Emission. And we offered that the research required, the green chemistry, clean technology research required for serving these industrial sectors will be funded fully by the government. And the cost of applications in the industrial sector, industry will pay for. Therefore, the industries need not have to pay for the research activities in this process in public funded institutions. It's a way of using money to fuse to otherwise misaligned partners of knowledge domain. And for 2 sectors, I went and held discussions with the industry myself. Maybe I should say all 3 sectors other than the paper and pulp. And I'm going to toss a challenge for some of you here, because it's an important issue. For those of you who speak the principles of green chemistry, it may be an interesting challenge. Not far from here, in a place called Venkaleshwar in Gujarat, they manufacture 60% of the global supply of copper phthalocyanine pigments. And they discharge